The Lais of Marie de France is a collection of 12 lays, extended rhyme poems, all of which tell stories of love and chivalry, translated for the Penguin edition into modern prose. There's some uncertainty about who Marie of France actually was. Penguin's otherwise excellent introduction doesn't help when in the very first paragraph it tells us it is certain that the author who composed the lays contained in this volume was not called Marie de France. But it turns out that's only true in the same way that Dorothy Parker was never called Dorothy of America. In fact, there's very good evidence, as the introduction goes on to make clear, that the author was called Marie, and she did come from France. It's generally agreed that she emigrated to England, although at that point in history, England and France weren't sharply distinct nations, where she may have been employed by Henry II to entertain his court. There's good internal evidence in the lays themselves to suggest that she was seen as an extraordinarily skilled poet, to the extent that her services were in high demand, and other bards occasionally filched her material. While it's true that Marie wasn't telling original stories, she always makes that clear. These are the lays of the Bretons, ethnic Celts from Brittany, and anyway, as the introduction makes clear, originality wasn't necessarily seen as a virtue in the Middle Ages, yet it's not hard to imagine that the way in which the women in her stories take centre stage is chiefly down to her. These are simple stories with broadly stock characters, virtuous, beautiful ladies, jealous, elderly and powerful husbands, handsome, chivalrous knights. In some ways they resemble fairy tales. Magic occasionally breaks in. There's a werewolf, a self-navigating ship, a knight who turns into a hawk. The women are valiant, intelligent and quick-witted. There are elements of medieval folklore, such as the weasel who knows the exact herb required to restore life, and the deceitful woman whose nose is cut off and who thus gives birth to noseless children. Often they end happily ever after, but there are tragedies. What makes these poems so interesting and important is that this may be the first time in Western culture where a female author crafts extended love stories which centralise women. Arguably, that would make her the spiritual ancestress of writers as diverse as Jane Austen, Emily Bronte and Rosamund Pilcher. Quite apart from the book's entertainment value, that alone should make it well worth reading.